Hey friends, welcome back to the Holistic Health Podcast. This is our first time in an actual professional podcasting studio, and we're feeling really good about it. We're just discussing how we did attempt it at home. Thank you so much for your patience as well. If you've listened to the last maybe 3 episodes, we did have some, let's call them teething issues.
Yeah.
And we've since realised our limitations in the space of podcast editing, video producing, etc.
Yes.
And from here on out, you're going to have a great high quality podcast.
Yes, you are. I laugh that our intro says, if you want a professional, well-edited podcast, move on. But
We're going to have to change that.
we might have to change it because we then lowered the bar.
Yeah.
So now we've just raised it. So enjoy.
Yeah. Well, what other way would we start this new venture of ours than talking about something that's relating to poo?
Of course.
I'm sure you can pull another poo story out of your repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
It's
We'll
very,
see.
very large. But anyway, if not, I'm sure I can
Poo
remind.
or my repertoire.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
But fibre. So I know that we talk about this so much. I actually think fibre is the new protein.
Yes.
Don't you feel?
Amen.
I feel like it's coming up more and more, and it went through it had a moment where it was put on the back burner through the carnivore era, where everyone was anti-fibre, don't look at it, vegetables are absolutely killing you,
Yes.
et cetera, and it's back.
Yeah.
It's back. I actually feel like personally as a professional in this space, and I'm sure you feel the same, it never left the building.
No, but I'm relieved that people are actually circling back to this because it's been, carbs versus fat for fuel, not enough protein, and fiber's just been like this lonely little thing in the corner going, what about me?
It isn't fair.
And it's so important. And when you're so focused on getting enough protein, like getting enough fiber, I think can sometimes really drop. In fact, just fun fact, well, it's not, it's a sad fact actually, probably contributing to some of the sinister statistics that we're seeing. But we're meant to consume up to 30 grams of fibre a day. Some other guidelines say 50, and the average Australian is probably barely hitting 10.
Wow.
I know, it's a bit scary, and I started tracking mine recently actually, so this feels very on brand, and even I'm not, I think I assumed, I mean, I'm a nutritionist, I know, I could look it up, but you just kind of eat a lot of salad, a lot of vegetables, and I actually started calculating it, and I'm like, I'm actually not where I thought I would be based on how much vegetation that I'm eating. So anyway, likely you're going to be the same. So yeah, I'm really excited that we're talking about fibre.
Yeah, I mean, in case you didn't have enough things that you had to do for your health, in case you weren't exhausted enough trying to get enough protein, lift weights, sleep enough, now you have to eat enough fibre as well. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I should say, with going into the fibre conversation, I do actually think it's important to understand that there are different types of fibre and that not everyone is well suited to really hyper-focusing on a single one. They all do slightly different things as it relates to gut health or solving certain digestive issues like constipation. And I also think this is where people can get caught up with consuming fibre and then realising that it's making them feel worse. So where I thought we could actually start is just go through the different types of fibres. So let's start with insoluble fibre. Tell us all the things. What do we need to know?
Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about 3 categories of fibre, just so you've got the lay of the land. And insoluble fibre, as the term insoluble suggests, or actually specifies really.
Actually, is detailed.
It's like literally there. It doesn't dissolve. So it doesn't become liberated to do any other function other than bulking the stool. And I would describe it like an intestinal broom. It's there to kind of sweep out.
Only you could make this sound luxe.
Bougie. It's the bougie fibre. No, they're all sexy in their own way. But ultimately, this is what like swells up, makes the stool bulkier. That pressure from the inside like triggers the peristalsis so that the intestines move things along. So not that there's like a you know, a poo Olympics where everyone wants the heaviest, biggest stool because there is a limit. Oh my God, I do have a poo story about that.
Oh, really?
Side note.
You're a secret athlete and
no.
this is the category?
I'm actually thinking of someone I know from a long time ago, and this was a family thing. They all had poo knives. This has gotten derailed very early. Promise it's going to be a short story. They were notorious for having such enormous motions. They had to, I'm not even joking. They had a knife that they could cut up their stool so it would flush. I know this sounds like I'm making it up, but it honestly doesn't. And they probably had a plumber on speed dial. And I don't know if they were just really good at eating a lot of fibre. I didn't know this person that well, although I knew them well enough to know about the poo knife. So what does that tell you? But anyway, if you go too far, you may need a poo knife. If you're eating appropriate amounts, your stool will be nice and bulky and a decent weight and a decent volume. And as a result, like because it triggers peristalsis, it makes sure that your transit time, you're losing it over the poo knife, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm just wondering, what does a poo knife look like? Is it just a knife that's dedicated to being next to the toilet, or is it like a certain
Can you order it off Amazon under stool slicer?
I'm going to Google this later.
Okay. I never thought to ask that question. You're so curious. I just figured it was like just a standard like butter knife, like just a knife.
I have
knife.
So many questions. I don't know why you didn't think to ask anything further.
I didn't want to know. But anyway.
I hope it didn't go in the dishwasher.
Yes, how are you going to clean that?
I don't know. Well, I'm in a...
Outside with the garden hose and some sunlight soap. Do you keep it in your handbag in case you have to do a poo in public?
Yeah, what do you do then?
Or do you just let it block up and let the council deal with it?
We're going to have to track these people down.
Okay, I'm going to report back. I'll see if I can find out more information.
Thank you.
But coming back to the subject at hand, insoluble fibre. So it is great to speed up transit time if you're not getting enough fibre and that's, you know, your intestines don't have enough to kind of squeeze onto and move it down. However, it can also just really, I guess, amend transit time and supports regular bowel movements. Now, where you would get this fibre from, things like whole grains, brown rice, nuts and seeds, vegetable skins, fruit skins. So don't peel the skin off your veggies is probably an overarching message here, unless it's the kind of skin you can't consume. All leafy greens, of course, and our favourite vegetables, the cruciferous. So broccoli, cauliflower, rockets in there, although that's also a leafy green, kale, cabbage, those kinds of things. That being said, if you have any kind of intestinal issue, maybe just a sensitive tummy, maybe all the way through to SIBO, anything in between, too much insoluble fibre can unfortunately make you feel worse. And I suppose I would suggest to someone who's maybe tried taking fibre of any description and has found their gut symptoms worsened, that to me is a red flag that you need to dig deeper into what's going on with your tummy. But basically it can worsen bloating, cramping, upper gut discomfort, and especially in people who have what I like to call a nervous tummy or a nervous disposition. Your digestive system doesn't function that well under stress. And so the motility is compromised because the circulation to the area is compromised because your body's pushing the blood elsewhere to help you cope with whatever threat is being perceived. And so be mindful of that. And then the last thing I would say, probably sort of set up front, if like me, you've gone, I'm definitely not getting enough fibre and I need to increase it. Like anything, don't go from 0 to 100 out of nowhere, because you will cause yourself...
You'll need more than a poo knife to get yourself in that situation.
Yes, you will, absolutely. Just titrate up slowly. So maybe increase it by 2, 3, 4, 5 grams. Give it a week or two. Allow your gut to adjust and the shifts in the microbiome to occur, and then nudge it up a little bit further from there.
Wise advice, because I've definitely seen people go from 0 to hero and no.
It doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't. No. And I think it really turns people off then consuming fibre. So I love that. Okay, so let's move on to then the next one, which is soluble fibre. Wow, that's actually quite a difficult word to say when you say it quickly. Anyway, so as the name suggests as well, this one does actually dissolve in water, and it forms like a gel-like substance essentially. And I would say I feel like this is a gentler form of fibre compared to the insoluble fibre from a tolerability perspective when you are someone who is more of that nervous gut, bloated picture. Doesn't mean that you can't have issues with it, but if I was to start somewhere with someone who I was unsure of how they were going to handle an increase in fibre, I would potentially start with some soluble fibre. And it does... There's more benefits to it than just gut health. So it does actually slow digestion down a little bit, not in a way of causing constipation. It's very, in the body, nothing's ever operating in isolation. So when it slows digestion, probably slows transit time slightly in the sense of that then allows actually you to have a steadier blood sugar balance. And that's part of why people say, oh, eat more fibre and it helps with your blood sugar management. It's because it actually slows down the absorption and the digestion of that food, including whatever carbohydrates are in there. It also does have benefits in helping with lowering cholesterol if that is a problem for you, because it helps to bind bile acids. And it also definitely is beneficial for the gut bacteria in there, as all fibre to a degree is. And it can actually help if you've got loose stools, like if you're someone who's really struggling with that nervous gut and you've got like urgent loose stools. Well, definitely get checked out if you've got urgent loose stools, but if you're erring more on that side of things, it can be really helpful in just making it a little bit less loose and also less of an emergency to evacuate. And I think, as I said, it is usually better tolerated in people with IBS or who have like even upper GI related symptoms like heartburn or indigestion. Again, it's going to be nuanced, and you do need to make sure that if you are trying to slowly introduce fibre, whatever type it is, and you are getting a flare in symptoms, that you look into it. We've done plenty of episodes on like IBS, SIBO, etc. So go back and have a listen to those if you need to. Where you get it from is things like oats, chia seeds, flax seeds, psyllium, apples, pears, also things like carrots or citrus fruits, and legumes as well. I feel like if you're someone who's already struggling with some IBS-like symptoms, I wouldn't start with legumes and lentils. I'd probably more so start with like the chia seed, the flax seed, apple. Even cooked and cooled apple works quite well. It forms some pectin, which is also a soluble fibre. So that's where you get it. I don't think there are many other cautions outside of what we've already mentioned, but there is another type of fibre. So what's the last category of fibre that we often refer to?
So the other category is resistant starch, and it's not starch that's going on a revolution in the streets. But if we first sort of define starch, it's a form of carbohydrate, and it's found in root vegetables, so things like potatoes, sweet potato, things like peas, rice. Unripe bananas also... unripe bananas have resistant starch as they are, but also lentils, beans and oats. Now, if it is cooked, so if those particular starches are cooked and then allowed to cool down, say overnight, that actually changes the molecular structure of the starch such that it can no longer be absorbed as a carbohydrate, if you like, or it's resistant to digestion, perhaps is a better way of putting it. This is useful for insulin and blood sugar sensitivity issues, for anyone who maybe finds rice kind of triggers a quick rapid rise in blood sugar. Having it cooked and cooled changes the game. You can also reheat it after that, but it still remains resistant. What it does is it does ferment in the colon. So if you read about it online, it'll be like, oh, it's so good for your microbiome, feeds your good bugs, but it feeds all the bugs. So if you have dysbiosis or sensitivities in the large intestine, it can actually make you feel bad. It's very fermentable, so can create gas for some, especially if, again, you go from 0 to hero overnight. But essentially, assuming your gut's in good shape and you start to introduce some more resistant starch, it is incredible for feeding your microbiome, especially the ones that produce the short chain fatty acid, butyric acid or butyrate. Supports gut barrier integrity, so it can be part of a leaky gut protocol, assuming you've got the microbiome tolerance for it. As I mentioned, improves insulin sensitivity because it reduces that blood sugar spiking. That can also help stool consistency due to the impact on the microbiome, and due to the impact on the microbiome, it can actually really help reduce inflammation in the large intestine as well. So yeah, incredible for people with pretty good guts already, good tolerance to fibre, but maybe are looking for extra gut microbiome support, or maybe blood sugar regulation, or just general good gut health.
I love it. And practically speaking, just off the top of my head, some things that I often tell clients to do, simple ways to increase fibre, would be make chia jam and chuck it in whatever, you know, breakfast you're having, or even have it as a snack. And I also recommend, there's a loaf called Life Changing Loaf. I can't remember who the original recipe developer is off the top of my head, but that's another homemade bread kind of recipe that's gluten-free, that has lots of fibre packed into it, something you could easily cook and freeze. I also would say things like chia seed puddings, which you can prep in bulk and then just, you know, have as a snack or as a larger portion for a main meal. And then also doing things like overnight oats or baked oatmeal if you tolerate oats well, and just buy more fruit to have around. I hope that fear around eating fruit is subsiding. I feel like, again, we went through a wave of that as well. And just, I do think it's something you have to think a little bit about ahead of time, so that you don't end up only relying on just grabbing a handful of nuts and seeds to meet all your fibre requirements. It's just not going to happen. But hopefully that's just a few ideas to start with.
Yes.
So I think that wraps it up. Good luck. I hope you don't need if you have a poo knife, please DM me. I don't need nothing creepy. I need to know more. If this was just a one-off story from Amie and her wild card, you know, friend. Don't know if they're close.
Call him a friend. Yeah.
Don't want to get on the bad side of someone with a poo knife.
No, my God, no.
Please let me know. Otherwise, we will be back in your ear holes again next week. And happy fibre eating.
Yes, happy pooing.